trust you're able to get plenty of rest. Good. I thought we might take a moment to ponder our next steps, and perhaps reflect on our recent journey. I must admit, my thoughts often adrift the mist continent and our stay in Treno. It was heartening to see Milala prosper despite the odds, and my own flesh and blood strive in living, wrecked landscape. Suen was eager to restore diplomatic relations, and I have no doubt that Alexandra will provide much needed support for their neighbor. I too shall do everything I can to aid my home, away from home. My wonderful, welcoming family included. For the time being, though, I'd say we've accomplished all within our power. Is it time to leave? I suppose that just leaves the matter of Preservation's research. It is yet unclear how Calyx learned the techniques he used to summon his Dark Primal, and here is likewise much that remains unknown about the key. Let us hope that Shell's efforts bear some fruit. Can you hear me? Shell and I have been reviewing the decrypted files and have uncovered some intriguing details. Would you like to join us? We'll be with you right away. Excellent. Shell seems rather eager to speak with you all. Come and find us at the Deutero Lab. Uncanny timing indeed. Let us make for the continent containment complex. Glamour, what should I use? Glamour, right? Let's see, for this adventure. Let's go with this. There we go.
Ah, you're just in time for a progress report. The decryption is finally complete. As we suspected, the data represents a partial record of Preservation's research documents. A quick scan of the files, however, failed to turn up the information Y'shtola was after.
Indeed. No mention of the Ascians, or primal summoning techniques for that matter. While Calyx doubtless received instruction from someone possessed of such knowledge, there was naught to identify this benevolent mentor. I am, however, pleased to say that we found several reports concerning the key.
We know the key is used to open paths between worlds, and was a treasured relic of the Milala. And just as the Milala were unable to return after reaching the Mist Continent, so too was Preservation unable to gain a mastery of the prize which had passed into their possession. The data suggests that a particular formula or procedure is required. A process which Calyx appears to have understood to some degree. Yet the key proved fickle. Perfectly replicating conditions was no guarantee of success. And even when they did manage to generate a modest portal, the destination was never the one they expected. The reports practically screamed their frustration, describing the experience as being dragged around by a traveler picking roads without rhyme or reason. Serves them right, I say.
After much trial and error, Preservation began to experiment with external actuation devices for the key. Striving to maintain a stable pathway to a chosen location, they conceived of the technology that forms the gate to the Golden City.
So, their tribulations ultimately afforded them control of the key, albeit in a limited capacity, which, of course, explains why they were able to instruct Zoralja in its use, thus enabling the unprecedented feat of transferring Everkeep and its environs to the Source. After the Endless Fiend took the key unto herself, she opened pathways to other reflections in her hunt for Aether, did she not?
The Milala merely used it to facilitate their exodus. To think what the key has now wrought in different hands.
For all we know, the actuation device augmented the key's power beyond its intended scope. Were your goal to plunder whole worlds of their ether, a tool designed to simply transfer people would likely be insufficient.
Shale, I don't suppose you would be able to remove the actuation device?
The machine made for that very purpose is still functional, thankfully. It shouldn't be a problem.
What do you think? We don't even know how the key works. If the device is somehow interfering or amplifying its capabilities, I believe we ought to remove it.
Give me a moment.
Did you have a clue, Y'shtola?
My word.
Y'shtola?
This is the first time I've beheld the key in all its unobscured glory. The sheer density is extraordinary. 'Tis akin to the structures we saw beneath the Tempest.
Now that you mention it, The ornamentation is reminiscent of Amarot.
Have you noticed anything since the key has been in your possession?
Let me think. I think... Seems like the dawn's first light. It reminds me of Azam's crystal.
You're suggesting the key has some connection with Azam. A plausible theory, although one we are yet unequipped to prove.
My apologies. Hello? Yes, this is Cryo speaking. That was Ojika with a message for us.
An urgent matter?
I'm not altogether sure. Tataru requires our counsel, and hoped to call upon us in person at the Baldessian Annex. Though disappointed we were not present, she appeared content to wait until our travels brought us back to Garlean, insisting that it did not merit our immediate summons. Her tone suggested otherwise, however, and Ojika felt compelled to contact us directly.
Mayhap the time has come for another journey across the Sot.
Sounds good.
You'd best go. Though I'll not deny that I'll be sad to see you leave.
Oh, Shale. I can't even begin to thank you for all you've done. We will be forever indebted to you and your Oblivion colleagues.
The debt is ours. We'll never forget the sacrifices you've made for us, for Alexandria. In the meantime, I shall keep sifting through the data. You'll hear as soon as I find anything of note.
Actually, I should like to stay here a little longer, if you don't mind.
You are most welcome.
And might I borrow the key for a while? I wish to study it further. With the utmost care, I assure you.
Well then, shall we be off? Ojika will be expecting us.
Trail to the heavens. Welcome back. What a pleasure it is to see you, Patios. Thank you for contacting us, Uchka. We came as soon as we could. Of course, I felt prudent given how troubled Tataru was. Your concern is much appreciated. As it happens, we've reached a convenient juncture in our investigation. Shale and Yashtola have matters well in hand, leaving us free to make a distrip. That's a relief. Now, let me fetch Tataru for you. Why don't you take a moment and relax? I'm sure you're all fatigued.
Planning your next journey?
Oh no, just reminiscing. Thinking back to when you bought this map, and how you all encouraged me to make the voyage to Tural.
Are you glad you did?
As if you need ask. Welcome back.
Wonderful to see you, Tataru.
I'm so glad you're here.
Ojika contacted us. He intimated that you were rather concerned. Come to think of it, Alphino said he and Alize would pay you a visit upon their return. Have you not seen them?
Oh no, they were here. I was regaled with many a tale of your Turali adventures. It was only once they departed for Garlemord that the rumors came to my attention. Rather alarmingly, voidsents sightings seem to be on the rise across the star. I was reluctant to bother you with mere hearsay, especially when you had more pressing matters to contend with. But earlier I received a confidential report from the Grand Company of Eorzea. It's as if a mighty dam has been breached, flooding the land with foul creatures. For a blessing, most nations have managed to keep the invaders in check, and casualties appear to be minimal thus far. Though the same cannot be said for those regions with a deeper connection to the void. Their fissures continue to manifest without end, putting countless innocents in danger.
A deeper connection to the void. Garlemald is the home of the Reapers, is it not?
It is. Alphino and Alize were there when the trouble began, and have since sent word that the situation has taken a dreadful turn.
Tertium. Okay. What's happening?
Thus concludes the abridged account of our time in Tural. Now I shall leave you with the words of the late Dawn Servant, Galul Jajar. ignorance begets strife. Understanding begets fellowship. A notion that rings true for Eorzeans no less than it does for the diverse peoples of Tuliolol.
And for Garleans as well. Even sharing something as simple as a local dish can pave avenues of understanding. It's up to all of us to forge new bonds, together.
Thank you for sharing your tale. Better they hear it firsthand than endure my clumsy retelling. Your words give me hope that we might achieve something similar here in Garlemald.
We all have the capacity to affect change. Our time in Tural taught us that much. And now that we've returned, it's time we rolled up our sleeves and got back to work.
I've already sent missives to the other nations, informing them of our Alexandrian friends. I also intend to notify the Garlean community officially. If both sides are amenable to the proposition, we shall gladly assist in establishing diplomatic relations with Alexandria and Tuliolol.
Thank you. But are you sure you've recovered from your journey? It sounded like you've hardly had time to catch your breath.
Sir! Lapis Manalis is overrun with voidsent. We've sustained heavy civilian casualties.
What?
Cactuar squadron reporting in. We're under attack. Voidsent appeared out of nowhere and ambushed us during a routine inspection. Damn it. Is that another fissure? No, no, no! Ah!
My comrades are under attack. We have to do something.
There's no time to lose! Come on!
The Garlean community is ill-equipped to defend themselves against such a threat. Even with the aid of the twins and the Ilzabard contingent, they face daunting odds.
We shall leave for Garlemald immediately.
Thank you. I was able to contact Thancred and Urianger too. They're already on their way. With any luck, you'll be able to rendezvous with them on arrival.
Having told Finno and Alcib have withdrawn to Turchin and request aid. They see intent of rejoining the battle. Let's make haste, let's go. Ah, Pedios, you've made it.
You picked a frosty spot for a reunion.
Tataru sent word that you were coming. Full glad am I to see you all. Though I'm afraid this is no time for pleasantries. Planar fissures have opened up across Garlemald, inundating the region with voidsent. As far as we can ascertain, there are 2 focal points of their assault. The Ilzabard contingent are combating the threat in Lapis Manalis. Although they have suffered casualties, they appear to have the upper hand.
As well they should. The many talented Uldan thaumaturges among them should be more than capable of closing any fissures they encounter.
Which leaves the second focal point, the Clutium. Jullus and the Garlean community are attempting to mount a counterattack, but are struggling to cope with the sheer number of voidsent. They've fallen back to the north of the Imperial Palace. Can you lend your aid in securing the area?
With your blessing, I would tend to the wounded returning from battle.
Of course, Kryl. Thank you. The quickest route from here to the front is via the train tracks. Once we arrive, we can support the Garlean forces as we make for the fissure in the munitions factory.
Clutium. Alright. Here the Clutium. I'm gonna fight some voidsent.
You're a sight for sore eyes. Appreciate the help. We'll handle things from here. Take care of the fissure.
What is that thing? Eye of the Scorpion. Nice. happened? What's this thing? At least it's defeated now.
I think that's all of them.
We need but seal the fissure to prevent further ingress.
It's over. I can only imagine the extent of the damage were it not for your aid. On behalf of the Garlean community, I thank you for all you've done for my people, for my home.
That guy is still alive. Home.
I shall close the fissure post-haste.
Wait. What do you want, Malphus? That voicent is talking. Trapped here. Trapped here, okay.
You risked your life in vanquishing the creature. Would you at least let me bear the burden of deciding its fate?
Sure, I guess.
You want to go back? To the Void? Your kind have entered this realm before. Some seeking death that they might rejoin the life stream. But you would choose that dark, deathless place?
You're untouched by darkness. It would be a blessing to meet my end in such a place.
But I cannot yet bear to part with the void.
Follow the winds that blow there, as they do
Only
here.
the winds that blow there, as they do here. I long to return, to see my home unsullied.
As it
As it once was.
We know that pain all too well. If that is your wish, you must forsake this aggression. Go back to the Void and devote yourself to its restoration. I have a friend, Zero, who hails from your home. She and her companions strive to bring light into the Void from another world blighted with imbalance. I hear their efforts have already met with some success. One day, they'll drive the darkness from the Void, I'm sure of it.
His soul is imbued with the will of all those I have consumed. We shall return to our world and seek out this Zero. Then we shall see if there is truth in your words.
She won't disappoint you. That much I guarantee.
And I hope we meet Zero again. Zero was awesome in Endwalker. If we could meet Zero, that would be epic. I really want to meet Zero again. Zero was my favorite character in Endwalker, for sure. Yeah, I hope we can meet Zero.
I think Zero will approve.
Yeah, Zero would approve, for sure.
Oh, Indeed, that was truly heartening to see.
Understanding begets fellowship, right? I thought I might lead by example.
Well then, shall we head back?
Our reports have begun trickling in. By all accounts, the support contingent was successful in containing the threat on their front. But for voidsents to attack in such a number, just as we were finding our feet, I daren't imagine the consequences had we not provided such timely aid. On behalf of my comrades, thank you all.
Have contained the threat on their front. Things appear to be under control for the time being. Though it remains unclear why the fissures opened up in the first place. According to Tataru, similar ruptures are occurring across the star.
One thing is clear, however. The phenomenon is not without pattern. The tendency for fissures to emerge is pronounced in regions deeply connected to the void. Places where the barrier between the two worlds is at its thinnest.
I fear there may be a place in far greater peril than Garlemald. Though it hath since been sealed, you will recall there is a great void gate that we ourselves had cause to open. A gate which was instrumental in our bid to reunite Vritra with his sister and put an end to Golbez's dark plot.
Oh gods. The moon.
With our attention fixed upon planar fissures, I failed to consider this vulnerability. All other paths unto the void are but pinpricks in the veil compared to that great lunar rift.
And that rift might be yawning open as we speak. We'd better hurry.
Let us make for Bestway's burrow. I dare say the Loporrits are well aware of current events.
We ought to have Kryl join us once she finishes tending to the wounded. I shall likewise contact Y'shtola. Her knowledge of the moon's void gate is second to none.
Alphino, Alize, please do what you must to keep our world safe.
We'll be back before you know it.
A quick word, if you will. I'm not sure whether you'll run into Zero during the course of all this, but if you do, would you give this to her? Emergency rations, in case of a protracted battle. Can't imagine she's eating all that well in the void. She likes dumplings.
Given thy panicked state, I presume the Loporrits too are beset with voidsent.
Oh, what sweet relief it is to see you all! Yes, voidsent, and lots of them. They suddenly came pouring forth from the crater.
I had dearly hoped to find my worries unfounded.
For some unknown reason, the void gate seems to have partially opened. Living Ray dashed off to activate the brands and halt the Fiend's invasion. But she hasn't come back, and we've since lost contact.
I suggest we make for the brands without delay.
I think I'll continue this tomorrow. Alright, we'll stop here for tonight. We'll finish the second half of the MSQ tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're gonna stop the void gate from opening. They're coming out from the crater. Tomorrow we're gonna investigate and stop the voidsent from invading. See you next time. See you tomorrow.